I'm going to go over some of the problems from last Thursday in which you guys had 12 problems, and most of them were review. And you guys seem to struggle a little bit more than anticipated. So let's talk about right here, triangle DEF, and that is reflected across the x-axis. So basically all I care about right now is the fact that it's reflected across the x-axis. Okay, it's reflected across the x-axis. Okay, so if I have a point that is right here and it goes across the x-axis and it's 1 point off and it goes 1 point, and then I put it right here, I can do that and just look at what happens. Now, my x value didn't change because I still went to right. What's changing is my y value. So when you're doing this, it would be, oops, trying to do this while videotaping, it would be this guy right here, because this is where the x is staying the same and the y is changing. And remember when we talked about transformations, reflections means whoever we're reflecting over is the strong one, and then the other one has to change. Okay. The next one, and I'm going to go across. The window is covered in the amount of light. So if I draw this window, let me make him a white window, okay? And I start covering, the more my window is covered, the less light comes in. So basically, the more it's covered, the less light comes in, causes it to be a negative correlation. Okay. Conversely, the less it's covered, the more light comes in. So that makes it a negative correlation. So I'm glad on this one that you didn't choose negative. Some of you, I saw that you did realize that there was a different correlation. So I'm glad none of you said negative. Some of you said no, but if I draw my railroad tracks, it's a weak, but it is positive correlation. So make sure you go ahead and do your railroad tracks. Only if you have the railroad tracks all the way and there's not a distinct. So it is a positive correlation. The other, later you will distinguish that between positive weak and positive strong, and that would be positive weak. All right. So on this one, it's scientific notation. That number's an 8, and therefore we're going 8, and so it's 1, 2, 3. There's 3, and then we go 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so it would be F. Okay, because you want your decimal right there. You want your decimal, oops, and my little guy, I don't know where my arrow is. Oh, here we go. Oops. Nope. Okay, so you want your decimal hanging out 1 from the end, and so your decimal would be right there. Okay. If you put it right here, that would be 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This would be 3, 6, 7. This would be 3, 6, 9. So the only one that has an 8 is the 8. Closest to the volume of the paint. So we are doing volume. And so it's big B big B. It's not letting me draw now. Huh. I don't know why it's not letting me draw. It would be big BH. And so it's pi r squared H. Your R is, that's your D. So your R is 8.25. And let's see if we can do it as a text box. Let's do it as a text box. Oh, here we go. It's pi 3.14 times, that's 16.5 is my diameter, so it's 8.25 squared, so another 8.25. And then I multiply it by my height, which is 19, and that would be how I calculate volume of that cylinder, and then it's G. Okay. This one is the only one that I haven't covered, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut and paste this one and do it in its own separate video, and so I'll do that one in its own separate video attached. All right, next one. Okay, once you see the word dilated, you need to think of multiply. Okay, so if I'm thinking dilated multiply, I'm eliminating certain ones automatically. I'm going to eliminate that one, okay, because that's an add. And I'm going to eliminate this one because that's a subtract and it has to multiply. Then I look at the answers, and that's 2/5 and 5/2. So that means, which way am I going? Am I getting smaller or am I getting bigger? And then it says triangular G is dilated to make smaller. So I want smaller, and smaller means less than 1. And so the answer turns out to be B, because that's the smaller. That's how you get smaller. Okay. Let's go down to 2. Proportional. Remember that proportional has to go through the origin. And if it goes through the origin, that means it goes through 0, 0, which means it has a y-intercept of 0. This y-intercept of 1 knocks that one out. This y-intercept of 3/2 knocks that one out. And that y-intercept, ooh, Lord. Crazy thing keeps moving on me. And that y-intercept, can't pick up that dot. Okay, and that y-intercept of -4 knocks that one out. So I knocked them all out because of the y-intercepts, and the only one that doesn't have a y-intercept, the only one that has a y-intercept of 0 is F. Okay, so that's a definition problem. I will guarantee you that question and similar will be like that. Okay, video is getting a little bit longer, so I'm going to shut it off and I'm going to do the next questions on the next video.